Okay, so here's the Pinstadiums here. You can see they, just real quick on an installation, you have a magnet strip, and that's how they mount to your game. So, then they have these ribbon cables that mount here, and you'll connect a wire loom to that. Moving over here to the Stargate, you'll see these just magnetically attach. And when you want to lift your playfield, when you want to lift the playfield, you've got to lift that up. You've got to lay them off to the side, otherwise those cords will stretch. And so you can see back here, that's kind of part of this system is where do you run these wires, and I'll kind of show you that here in my installation and my review. I'll just stick those right there. Okay, I pulled these out, and you can see on Gottlieb's there's no backboard. What the Pinstadiums do is they give you these little eye hooks right here, and they just have double-sided tape. You'll have to put them on the back of your playfield. That's really the only place that works to mount these, and normally you'd mount these on your backboard. Oops, I'll try and show you kind of the locations I put those in. Right there. So these wires here, you'll want to kind of fold them. You can see how these have been kind of folded. When I say fold them, I mean like literally cup them. These didn't really stay, but you can see down there, that's how you do it. And these wires just essentially run right back down there. And then when you pull your playfield up, you need to make sure and lay them down like that. You don't want to damage them. You don't want to do this when they're on. It's dangerous. Here's the playfield up. You'll notice you've got to do a couple things here. You've got to attach to a flasher, so the flashers go, and you'll attach that either pole. On my case, let's see, I did that right here, and the lighting is poor here, I apologize. But essentially that's where you just attach either end to the flasher, and you really can't go wrong there. It's pretty simple. That will activate the flasher portion, and it will work off this flasher is the one that I found that I like the most. There's a flasher on this side over here that you could use that's really good too, but I prefer this one on Stargate. As for general illumination, Gottlieb's are kind of goofy, so I'm going to try and show you this real quick. You'll see that I attached this clip to alligator clip here. But essentially what I did, and I'll try and insert a picture right now, I cut the other end of this off. There's two wires, there's a white one, and this white wire actually is screwed on to the mounting screw here. And I put an eyelet on it. Because if you want to take a look real quick at a Gottlieb, like a lamp socket, you can see on this one, even though it's the controlled light, that it's really hard to clip to that. And so I actually undid that screw that's mounted on the GI screw and added a just an eyelet connector, and so I just screwed it down to the body of the housing. And like I said, I'll insert a photo here. The second piece of this is how you power it. You need 12 volts to power this mod, and I'll show you that here just real quick in a second. Okay, to power this, you have a plug in some of your System 3 games you can use. There's a service plug. You'll notice there's two. One on the left is your service outlet. Now that's always hot, and that's hot all the time, meaning that it's on. When you turn the game off, it stays on. That's for your soldering iron so you can service the game. The one to the right of it is actually, you'll notice, is the validator outlet. That's the bill validator outlet, and there's a plug here in the game for that. I've since unplugged it, so I'm using a little flashlight here. And that ideally is where you'd want to put this thing in that outlet. The problem is you see that Molex plug right there. Certain power sources are going to be tricky, and this one here, this is what Pinstadium gave me. It's a little too long. You can see it won't plug in, it won't fit. So I have to kind of plug it into the service outlet now to power it, which means it's always on, and the Wi-Fi is always on, which isn't optimal. So what I'll do is I'll get a different wall wart. I'm sure Pinstadium will send me a different one. I kind of told them this one wouldn't quite work. But on these Gottliebs, there's a few ways to get 12 volts. And this is probably your cleanest way, is to use that validator plug. It's easy because that wire basically just runs back to that little board, which is what your Pinstadium lights are connected to. And that just sits on the bottom there. I'm not going to move it much. It has to be somewhat mobile. So it looks pretty good and works fine. Hey, one trick you can also note is this magnet. I don't know if you can see it very well. It needs to really ride just a hair below that lip. And you might be able to see, you might not. That's a bad angle, and there's no low light here, so I apologize. See if you can see it over here. I'll pull this off. Might get a little better light. You can see it's about a 1/16 of an inch. That's when you install these. Just another quick tip. Get that just below that lip so the glass doesn't interfere, and then your magnets mount just below the edge there. But that's the clearance you need. It's about a 1/16 of an inch from the edge of where the glass channel is. So here's my Stargate as it sits. It's a really nice machine, and it's lit really well, so it's nice and bright. I actually don't think this game is poorly lit necessarily at all. I did put a color DMD, actually a pin to DMD in this game, so it's kind of got some white, pink, green, and purple colors on it, which I much prefer. And there's a crazy looking topper there. I don't know if you can see that thing, but it's kind of cool. And then I'm going to show you, so here's the before picture, and I'll show you the after in a second. And here's the after. It's pretty neat. I tried a few different color palettes, and this is the one I kind of like the most. It's by far the brightest, and you can see it's using, and I can post the screenshot of the app. But it's controlled, the app's controlled right here on the phone. I'm recording on my phone, or I'd show you a little bit more about it. But essentially, that's the brightness, the colors, and everything is controlled there. There's that topper. It's pretty cool. Yeah, so that's the Pinstadium lights review, and I really like it. It is controlled by connecting it to that GI underneath the playfield. It uses that information to shut the game off when the GI shuts off for the game. And then connecting it to the flasher of your choice will flash the game when it flashes in the title. So I'll try and show you a quick video of that. Okay. Here's the flasher. I'll throw it up in these pops. Kind of cool that way. Oops. There's that color display if you want to see one. It's kind of cool. That's my quick review and install on a Gottlieb System 3. Nothing too crazy, but just thought I'd share with all of y'all. And have a great day. And keep on playing some pinball.